welcome to the Author to Authority podcast. And this is part 2 of a very special series that I am doing with Clint Arthur. And I am so happy to have him on the show because he is a true author to authority. And you really want to make sure that you've listened to part 1 because he shares his incredible story of being a taxi cab driver on December 31st, 1999, to now hanging out, working with, and spending time with some of the most influential people in North America today. He has been on television everywhere, including the Today Show, where he was interviewed by Brooke Shields. So I'm not going to go into all of his story because you can go back and you can listen to an entire episode about his incredible story. So Clint, welcome back to the show. It's so nice to have you.
Great to be with you again from Mexico, Ming. I'm back to Mexico.
Oh.
And we're going to talk about a lot of good stuff this time, okay? Because
yes,
last time was pretty story-based. But you know what's really interesting is that, like, I tell so many stories that people don't even realize that I'm teaching them along the way.
Yes.
I taught a lot of stuff. I taught a lot of stuff in those stories. And I've really learned that good storytelling is the only way to really teach. Yes. Anytime, like, what's that girl's name? Brene Brown. Okay, my wife and I were watching the Brene Brown Netflix special, and it was fascinating because I was captivated by it up until a point, and then I zoned out. And what was the point? It was the point when she started teaching her 10 principles. As soon as she started teaching and stopped telling stories, my wife and I both zoned out. And then when she started telling stories again at the end, that's when we started paying attention again. It was really, really fascinating, and that's why I don't even teach anymore. I only tell stories. And for a lot of people, they were like, oh, well, you know, where's the meat? Dude, the meat is throughout the whole thing. You just gotta, I just made it easy for you to absorb it. You don't even realize that I'm teaching because I'm just telling stories. And what I want to do in this episode is I'd like to share with you some of the stories about some of the most famous people in the world that I've had the great privilege to meet and work with, and the most important things they ever learned. Because I believe, you know, I talked about Jack Canfield last time and about how he taught me how you need to become somebody special in order to be able to have a chance at selling books and making any kind of impact or having any kind of influence or earning any kind of income as an author, right?
That is so true.
And you know, what's really funny is that when I was chasing the Hollywood dream for 13 years, I didn't care about money. I would always say, I don't really, you know, it's not about money for me. I just want to have the opportunity to work. I just want to have a career. Really. I just believe in just doing what you love and the money will follow. You know, you can only do that for so long. They'll only keep giving you more credit cards for so long. Yes. And then eventually all the rates go up to 33% and then they're coming after you. So how do you make it? Eventually you got to make money because you can't just do it out of ideals. You have to succeed. How do you succeed? Well, I told you I went on TV. That was a great helper in getting me out of my being nobody and becoming somebody, which you must do. If you want to sell books, and you got to sell books if you want to be a highly paid expert authority about anything, you got to sell books. Being on TV is a great first step. Then there are other steps. Now, I told you I'm not really a speaker, even though I've shared this message at events sponsored by the Entrepreneurship Students Club of Harvard Business School multiple times.
Wow.
I've spoken about this at West Point with the leaders of our nation's future. I've spoken about it at USC's business school. I've spoken about it at NASDAQ and Coca-Cola and Mercedes. And I tell you all of this, not really to impress you, although I know how you're thinking about it, because this is actually a marketing strategy that was used on me by one of my mentors. I remember when he said the famous places that he had spoken at, I thought, wow, he must be really smart and he must make a lot of money if he's speaking at those kinds of places.
Yeah. That's
why I deliberately, systematically, methodically made it a point to go and speak at those places. I invested a lot of my time and effort to make those speaking events happen. And I'm not even a speaker. I told you that. I'm a writer who speaks. Yeah. And anybody who's a writer has to become a speaker at very important places.
Yes.
And I help my students, my mentees, I mentor people into that kind of opportunity. And then the third thing that I do, and look, in order to make those events and those opportunities for my mentees even more high status and more real, I have hired major celebrities to be celebrity speakers at those events. For example, I had Caitlyn Jenner at a conference I hosted at the Harvard Club of Boston. And I said, Caitlyn, what's the most important thing you ever learned? And she said, stay humble. Now, this is a person who's been on 100 episodes of Keeping Up with the Kardashians, who watched the entire rise of that whole family.
Yeah.
And the fascinating thing about it is that I asked Mike Tyson the same question. I said, champ, what's the most important thing you ever learned? He said, stay humble. Same answer. And a lot of people think, Clint, you make people into celebrities. That's what I do. I make people into what I call celebrity entrepreneurs. And people don't understand what celebrity really is. They don't understand that. People think, oh, celebrity, that's about ego. No, it's not about ego. It's about marketing. It's about being somebody in the eyes of customers and prospects so that you can charge a lot of money. And you have to charge a lot of money, because if you don't charge a lot of money, people won't take action and get great results because they don't feel like they have any investment. They'll just be like, oh, that was nice. That was interesting. And they just go on with their lives. You got to charge a lot of money. You got to be a celebrity entrepreneur. So it's not about ego. It's about marketing.
And visibility.
All right. Visibility. Yeah. So how do you stand out? Today, when you're scrolling through your social media feed, you're competing with Black Lives Matter. You're competing with riots. You're competing with defund the police. You're competing with the pandemic. You're competing with the presidential elections. How are you going to get any attention in the middle of all that?
Exactly.
Well, that's where my favorite marketing strategy comes in. It's called celebrity attachment. That's when you are in photos with major celebrities.
Yes.
So, for example, unfortunately, John Travolta's wife, Kelly Preston, just passed away. Well, I was vacationing at the Royal Hawaiian Hotel a few years ago, and they were there. See, I used to be driving Yellow Cab 6087, and my idea of a good meal was 2 Whopper Juniors for 99 cents each, and a 6-pack of Miller Lite long necks in the glass bottles. That was my idea of a good meal. And these days, I only hang out in 5-star resorts or villas like the one I'm in here for the last 4 months in Acapulco. And I hang out with celebrities, and they just pop up. And I posted condolences, and I, put the picture of me and John Travolta on my condolence post on Facebook. Imagine that. People notice.
Yes.
See, because like it or not, people are like a moth to a flame when they see a star, when they see a celebrity. Why does that work? Well, we see these celebrities on TV all the time. And this is how you know the difference between a major YouTube star or a YouTube sensation and a real celebrity. The real celebrities are on TV.
Yes.
Why? Because that's what celebrities do. They go on real TV. And if you're not on real TV, then you're not a celebrity. Everything I do is like reverse engineering. Okay, well, in order to be conceived as a celebrity, I need to be on TV. So I need to be on TV.
Yes.
That makes me closer to being a celebrity. And the funny thing is like, look, I'm still nobody. I'm a celebrity entrepreneur. Like, if you know who Grant Cardone is, he does this exact same thing. If you know who Tony Robbins is, he does this exact same thing. We go on TV, we hang out with major celebrities, we speak at important places, we publish best-selling books, and we win awards. That's what we do.
Yep.
That's what all celebrity entrepreneurs do. And by hanging out with these major celebrities, that makes you seem like you're more of a celebrity. And it's like, at some point, when does it stop seeming like it and it becomes more like it really is true? I don't know exactly, but you know, when do you have enough TV appearances? When do you have enough celebrity photos? When do you have enough very important speaking events? Never, because a shark stops swimming only one time, when he's dead.
Oh. Yeah, and it's not always as difficult as you think, because I know, like, even here in Canada, you know, I'm about 3 hours away from Toronto, which is the biggest city in Canada, and you know, I get opportunities to go to conferences and that, and you know, meet some pretty famous, incredible people, and I'm willing to invest the money in those better grade tickets so that I have an opportunity to meet. I had an opportunity to talk very briefly with Brian Tracy. What an incredible man. I've had an opportunity to talk to his son. Like, you know, you do these things and people do see you differently. Today, I just landed a 5-part teaching and training series with Staples. So they're going to be featuring me as a trainer.
Wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
So,
you know, what's funny is that Brian Tracy was my very first celebrity attachment photo.
Oh, really?
Like, yeah, when I went to a conference back in 2010, Brian Tracy was there. And if you look, Clint Arthur and Brian Tracy, just Google that, you should find a picture of him holding one of my books, The Income Doubler, How to Double Your Income in 180 Days, which is another great book. Yeah. But here's the funny thing. As you do this stuff, like, for a long time, my celebrity photos were Brian Tracy and Darren Hardy and Jack Canfield and Brendan Burchard. Those were my celebrity photos. Oh, and what's that guy? The Millionaire Mind. What was his name? Oh. T. Harv Eker, right?
Yes.
Those were my celebrity photos. Now those people are not on my website anymore. Mm-hmm. You go to Clint.com, CLINTTT.com, and you'll see me with Snoop and Martha Stewart, yes, and Ice-T and Coco and Caitlyn Jenner and Brooke Shields and Suzanne Summers. Those are the people, yeah, that are really valuable for marketing, because look, if you have to explain who the celebrity is, it can be good if you tell a good story about it. Yeah. Like, for example, at my upcoming conference I'm doing in Atlanta, August 7, 8, 9, I've got Dr. Oz, Dr. Drew, Paula Deen, Jocelyn Elders, who was the Surgeon General of the United States during the Bill Clinton presidency. I've got Patch Adams, who inspired the movie starring Robin Williams. See, those ones I had to explain. Those, yes, are called caption celebrities. You have to caption the name. Yes. To explain who they are. Those are not as good as, say, Snoop or Caitlyn or Martha Stewart or Dr. Oz. See, those I don't have to explain. No, that's true. But do you think it's, you know, sometimes you might not be able to afford access to the bigger people. So even if you're just in the beginning, get access to who you can get access to? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, when I started out, all of my celebrities were caption celebrities. Mm-hmm. And that's because I was still kind of dipping my toe in the water. I wasn't, yes, sure, is this going to work for me? That's really where I was at. Is this going to work for me? And the more I do this, the more I see that it works for anybody who embraces this marketing methodology that I call celebrity entrepreneurship. And until you really embrace it, you're only going to have mediocre results, yes, at best. But once you really start going for it, that's when you're going to start to see some real action. Because adding these major celebrities to your marketing, I mean,
Yes.
what the hell else are you going to do? I mean, TV is good. ABC, NBC, CBS, and Fox are good, but local TV, news, and talk shows only have so much magic to it,
Yes.
because why? Because there's no major celebrities on it. But when you get on the Dr. Oz show, not only are you on a national TV show, but you're on one with the major celebrity.
Yeah.
And that's when it's like pouring gasoline on a flame. And my real question for anybody who's like thinking about this is like, what the hell else are you going to do to really get some traction and make some stuff happen in your career if you don't start adding major celebrities to your marketing? What else are you going to do? You're going to spend $50,000 on Facebook ads. Boy, you could do that in a week. And what's that going to get you? Nothing. You might as well flush the money down the toilet, really, because that's what's going to happen. I've done it. I've spent more than $200,000 on Facebook ads trying to figure out the funnel game. And I have I can attribute about I'm up to $70,000 in sales that I can attribute.
I call that a losing proposition.
You're not going to get rich doing it that way. That's for sure. Lucky for me, I make a lot of money as a speaker, even though I'm not really a speaker, I'm a writer. Lucky for me, I make a lot of money because I figured out where the real action is.
Yes.
The best way to do this game, the best way to become somebody is to hang out with other somebodies. Like Jim Rohn used to say, you're the average of the 5 people you hang out with the most. That's basically what he said. And, people ask me, do you resent the 13 years you spent chasing the Hollywood dream? In the prime of my life, while all my friends from college were becoming millionaires, some of them billionaires with a B, I was driving the cab. And lucky for me, through that process, I learned the most important thing in business, which they don't teach you at the Wharton Business School, at Harvard Business School, at USC. I spoke at USC's Entrepreneurship Center. I asked the professor, anybody ever talk about what I just spoke about in any classes at USC? No, nobody's ever talked about that. Nobody knows this. The most important thing in business is who you are is more important than what you actually do or sell, especially if you are selling a product or a service that others do similar stuff. For affluent clientele, who you are is more important than what you actually do or sell. Now, I've won awards for this stuff. My great mentor, Dan Kennedy, written a whole series called No BS Business Books. No BS, yes. Dan Kennedy, famous guy. And he explained it very clearly. He goes, my wife broke her wrist. I knew I needed an operation on my wife's wrist. What I did not know was who was going to do the operation. See, especially with affluent clientele. And in this day and age, especially, the only clientele you should be going after are affluent clientele because the rich always have money.
True.
So if you're going to go after the rich already know what they want. They're smart. They got money. They know what they want. They know what they need. What they don't know is who's going to be the expensive service provider who's going to give it to them. Yeah. And that's what being a best-selling author is all about, so that when you go into the meeting, hopefully, like what happened to me one time when I was at a Dan Kennedy conference, I went out to dinner with a bunch of guys, and the next morning I get a text message from one of them. Hey, Clint, can you meet me at the lobby cafe for brunch? And I said, sure. And I walk in and the guy's there reading my book on his iPad. And 30 minutes later, I walked out with a signed contract for that guy to be a high-level consulting client of mine at $1,500 a month, US dollars, for the next 2 years. So do the math on that. That's a lot of money. That's more money than you make publishing a book. You don't make money publishing the book. You make money by enrolling the affluent clientele into high-price coaching and consulting. Just like that. How's that?
That is so cool.
That's what you do. That's what you do. And I'm telling you, the celebrity stuff is the best way to do it. That's why I'm having this conference, August 7, 8, 9. in Atlanta. Georgia's still open. Georgia's a state that's open for business. I'm going there. I got Dr. Oz coming, Dr. Drew, the Surgeon General, Patch Adams, Paula Dean. But the real ones, look, the real money ones are Dr. Oz and Dr. Drew. Dr. Drew's on TV in Los Angeles on Good Day LA every week. Dr. Oz is the #1 celebrity on TV, and that's what people are paying the money for. So there you go.
So cool.
And then people say, "But what are we going to do at your conference for 3 days, Clint?" Well, look, if you haven't noticed, I could talk all day long about this stuff, and I'm going to be deep dive teaching my 5 methodologies I've just touched on. Going on TV, speaking at very important places, getting celebrity photos, writing best-selling books, and winning awards. Then there's another secret 6th thing that real celebrities do. I don't want to even talk about it because people think, oh, well, it only works if you do the first 5. So I'm doing a deep dive on the first 5. I'm doing a deep dive on how to have your own reality series, like I talked about in the first episode. I'm doing a deep dive on that. And then I'll be interviewing each of the celebrities, asking them for their secrets on how do you get more impact, influence, and income. And then we're going to be doing the photos, and then we're with the celebrities, and then we're going to have networking and masterminding together. Because look, at my events, everybody's a celebrity entrepreneur. Everybody's at some of them are beginning, some of them are more advanced, some of them are just starting and haven't made any money yet. Others of them have made more than $7 million in new revenues for their companies, for their services in just the last 18 months.
Nice.
And how does that work, Clint? How do you make $7 million, Clint? Well, Will Nobles, he is a computer IT cybersecurity expert. Out of the blue, like he's been doing a lot of my stuff. He spoke at one of my events at Mercedes. He spoke at NASDAQ with me. He's spoken at Harvard events with me. He's gotten photos with Caitlyn Jenner and Suzanne Summers and Martha Stewart and all these things that I do. He's won awards. I wrote a book with him. We made it a bestseller. He's done all this stuff, and he keeps posting it on he's gone on TV. He's come to Celebrity Launchpad, gone on TV all over the country, and keeps posting all the stuff on his social media. And then out of the blue, you can see the video, or you come to the conference and hear him tell about it in person. Out of the blue, he gets a direct message on Facebook from some guy he went to high school with. Hasn't spoken to the guy in more than 23 years. And it's not like he was best friends with the guy in high school. It was just some guy you know, right? The guy never liked anything that he posted on Facebook. He never commented about anything that he posted on Facebook. But out of the blue, he sends him a direct message. Hey, Will, I've been following all the cool stuff you've been doing over the last 18 months. And now I'm in charge of technology for my hospital system. And I want you to come in and give us a bid on our services. They've done 3 separate contracts with that company. That's resulted in more than $7 million in new revenues for his company. This is how it works. This kind of stuff, I call this magnetic celebrity marketing. It attracts people to you like a magnet.
That is amazing. So I asked you this in the last episode. I'm going to ask you this again. How can people find and connect with you? So if they've heard this and they're like, oh, I need more.
Okay. Well, number one, if you like this, you definitely should buy my $100 hardcover book on Amazon. It's called Celebrity Entrepreneurship. It's $100 and it's worth every penny. I put my whole life into that book. It's nothing but stories teaching you through storytelling, which is the only way you should write yourself if you're a nonfiction author, or if you're a fiction author, you're only supposed to be telling stories. So, and I've been studying storytelling and doing it for long, since I was very, very small. I was very small. Okay. Get the $100 book. You owe it to yourself. And then go into my reality series. Go on Google and search my name, Clint Arthur. Clint like Clint Eastwood, Arthur like the king. And you'll see I have the first 4 pages of Google, which is my own personal reality series. There's one listing in the first 4 pages of some other guy named Clint Arthur. He's dead. It's his obituary. You want to break into my first 4 pages of Google, it's going to kill you. So don't try it.
Oh, well, thank you so much, Clint. This has been an incredible 2 interviews with you. And I am so thankful and grateful that you agreed to be on the Author to Authority podcast. So do you have one last thought before we go?
Hey, anybody who's listening to these podcasts, if you are at all able to travel, or if you got a couple nickels to rub together, come to my conference, The Instant Marketing Miracle for Experts and Entrepreneurs in Atlanta, August 7, 8, 9. Show up, get the pictures, learn how to do this stuff. You can try to, here's the other thing. There was another question they asked me. They said, Willie Geist, he goes, when I'm on the Today Show, he goes, Clint, we can have all these plans. We can want to climb to the top of the highest mountain, but then life gets in the way. How do you stop life from getting in the way? And I said, you got to invest in a mentor, as much money as you can possibly stomach, because it's got to hurt. If it doesn't hurt, it's not going to help. It's got to hurt. It's got to hurt a little. And get a mentor, because especially in this day and age where, the world is out to stop you. The world is really out to stop everything right now. You need a mentor who can grease the skids and make it happen for you fast, because everything is so freaking discouraging right now and difficult to accomplish.
Yes.
Unless you've got a mentor making it happen for you, you're just going to get too discouraged and give up. So if it's at all possible, go to IMM20.com, Instant Marketing Miracle 20, the number 20.com, and come and join me and Dr. Oz and Dr. Drew in Atlanta, and let's make something happen for you.
Thank you so much. This has been Clint Arthur and Kim Thompson-Pinder on the Author to Authority podcast. Thank you so much for listening, and we will see you on the very next episode. Bye now.